Day 4.
Of different universities and colleges, research scholars, and dear students. For the last 4 days, we have learned about the concept of trauma, Holocaust, racism, anti Semitism, a construction and erosion of identity, and many more in the context of Holocaust literature. Your active participation and engagement has truly delighted us. And in this way, you are making this program a true workshop where interaction is the defining feature. I invite you all for your positive involvement in the upcoming days too. Here, I once again welcome our speaker, Dr. Annie Ma'am, and I humbly invite Ma'am for today's talk. Dr. Annie Ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much for the introduction, sir. Um,
Thank you.
a very good afternoon to everybody. I'm just trying to share my PPT. I believe my voice is clear, right?
Yes, ma'am, your voice is audible, clear, ma'am.
Okay. Um, so today I said we will see what dehumanization is. And yesterday I didn't give you any work for the students especially because what we are going to see today, I thought it is something that you should come unprepared so that you will actually feel the full essence of what these people underwent during Holocaust. So that's why I didn't give you any homework. But then, what do you mean by um, dehumanization?
Dear students, please write in the chat box what is the meaning of dehumanization. Meanwhile, ma'am is arranging her PPT. It's a humble request to everyone. Kindly turn on your videos so that we can have a group photo.
Yes,
Okay.
what is dehumanization? Any idea? Dehumanization is the process of depriving. Okay. No, I want you to speak. Don't because these days we have ChatGPT. Now he can have better answers than the teachers or than the dictionary that you have today. So I want you to just tell me what it is. I don't want your answers in the chat box, but then open your mic and tell me something from your heart, not something from the internet.
Hello, ma'am. Dehumanization is when a person or a group of people are treated as if they are less than human beings.
Okay. Do you have any measures for this? Like if you are treated this way, then this is this. If you are treated this way, then this could be called as. Is there any measure? That is what today we are going to see. This is our fourth day of our lecture, and we will be dwelling more on dehumanization. So the content for today's session is going to be very simple, but certain things will remain in your mind. I believe for a very long time. Just three ideas we will be seeing today. One is three steps to genocide, and then what is dehumanization, and finally we will have a virtual trip into the concentration camps, and from there our steps involved in genocide. Now, before getting into this, earlier, I mean, yesterday we were discussing about what a genocide is. Now, genocide, as you all said, you try to completely eradicate a group of people either because of the social reason or cultural reason, or you have some other reason behind it. Now, my question is, how is it possible? See, if you think murder is a sin, committing or killing someone is a sin, we don't even go to that point of killing another person. We just think if there is one person whose mic is on, I think if you could mute, we'll be happy. Yes, thank you. So you see, we don't even want to harm others. Inflicting pain on another human being itself is considered a crime. Say, for example, if you have a child and if you beat the child, people are not happy about it. Even though the child commits a mistake, you are not supposed to beat the child. That's what today's world expects from us. When the scenario is like that, how is it possible for the entire government to write a system and to follow the system just to kill 6 million people in case of Holocaust? But it's not just with Holocaust, but even outside Holocaust, even outside Germany, such Holocaust is happening. And as we are speaking, there are a lot of Holocaust happening. A few are broadcasted in the news channels and a few are not broadcasted at all. So now, how this is possible? How is it humanly possible is my first question. And for that, they are giving you an answer. Any genocide, irrespective of the race or whatever the reason is, follows three things. The first one is authorization, routinization, and then process of dehumanization. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, process of dehumanization. So today, let us, as for now, we will leave what dehumanization is. But before that, there are two steps. We will see what are they. Authorization. See, if you take the history or if you take the documents that involves all the Nazi soldiers and Nazi people inside the concentration camps or even outside the concentration camps, you will be in a utter shock because all these people are very, very common people. A housewife, a young boy, a graduate who doesn't get a job, a widow, a divorcee, a single mother, or a school graduate or a college dropout, all very common people. What made them, what helped them to do such horror things inside the Holocaust or such, or made them be so cruel inside the concentration camps is the authority given to them. We will also check what happens with such power in the upcoming class. Either tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we will also have a glimpse of the psychology of the Nazis. But one important psychology is the authority that they all had in their hands. Nobody is going to question. Now, I'll give you one scenario. Imagine we all did our schooling, and most of you must have been class representative when you are in your school, class leader. What happens when you are given that power? You become the class leader, and the teacher says, say for example, let's say there is a person called Annie, and Annie is the class leader. And the teacher says, Annie, mind the class, and then she goes. And now Annie holds the power. Annie has the authority over, say, around 30 to 40 students in the class. Then what happens? Annie starts saying, don't talk. If you talk, I'll write your name on the board. And then second time when people continue talking, she raises her voice. And she's like, children, don't talk. If you talk, I'll write your name. And then third time she writes the name. And then after the name, she also adds the number to the maximum number, say 10 into the power, something like that. She keeps adding the number of times that the students talk. And when another teacher enters, she keeps complaining. Ma'am, you know what? When you were not in the class, so-and-so person was talking, so-and-so was jumping around. And then she tries and she gets punishment. Now imagine a scenario where the same girl is given the authority of punishing the students. Probably she could have punished those kids who didn't obey her words. Now this is the very simplest form of example of how power works. When you are given the power, you always try to use the power. This is very minimal power, and you cannot beat your student, beat your fellow friend. If you beat, that student will go and complain. But what happened inside the Holocaust? What happened inside the concentration camp? If I beat, no, nobody can question. If I kill someone, nobody can question. Even in rare cases, I was appreciated for such valiant acts. So nobody questions, everybody appreciates, and that's how you keep having your promotion and things like that. So now this authority of power, this authority of over 6 million Jews is the first reason. How this authority comes when I deprive you of your power, when I deprive you of your money, when I deprive you of your work, food, and all that, and you started depending completely on me, then you become powerless, then I have authority over you. This is how the authority is established in first place. Before getting into the ghettos, this authority is already established. Then what happens? You have certain routine to be followed. What routine? See, I am the class leader. I come to the class and I say, stop talking children, stop talking children. Nobody will listen. One fine day, the teacher comes and the teacher says, if you are not obeying Annie, then you will stand out. And the same way, I wrote some 10 names on the board. And the teacher, as she comes, she sends all the 10 people out. And this happens for 1 week. Then what happens? The 8th day, when I say don't talk, people will stop talking. If somebody talks, they know that they will be standing out, therefore nobody will talk. Nobody will even attempt talking. Now this is routinization. I have power and I will make you understand that I have power in every possible way. Now, as we have a trip into the concentration camps, we will also see how this is being, routinized inside the concentration camp. And then the process of dehumanization. We will see both of this together. Okay? So, what is dehumanization? To treat someone as though he or she is not a human being. Now, one best example that I could always give you is, see, this dehumanization is not something that happened inside Holocaust. It can happen anywhere. It can happen inside any institution. It can happen even the smallest institution in the society, family. Even inside a family, you can dehumanize people. And sometimes consciously or unconsciously, we keep doing it. I'll come to that point later when we have time. Once we finish this, we will talk about that. Now, Nick Haflam, he talks about two essence of humanness. See, if I say you are a human being, or if you call yourself a human being, then you should have two essence, he says. One is human uniqueness. What is this human uniqueness? Socialization and culture. You follow certain culture because yesterday we saw how culture is written on our very body itself. Okay? And socialization. Human beings are nothing but social animals. We live in society. We live as a group. We cannot sustain to live as a separate person. You cannot remove yourself from the society. Even if you want to live alone, when you go to a grocery store, still you want somebody else to help you with your grocery, isn't it? So that is more important. And then comes your human nature. This is linked to the natural world of how you are, your emotion, your warmth, your individuality. Okay? And what happens to your emotions? See, you should be capable of having all your emotions. You should be capable of showcasing all your uniqueness. If I'm not allowing that, then what happens? You are supposed to be warm. You are supposed to be individual. You should have your individuality. Where this individuality comes? From your identity. And I started breaking your identity in a very first place itself. As soon as you enter the concentration camp, I break your identity. Therefore, you don't have any individuality at all. This all of these are crosses. Now, I want you to connect each and everything. It is more like a chain process. That is why Holocaust is called a systematic killing of 6 million people because everything was pre-planned for them. Now, this is where the reality of how what really happened inside Holocaust comes in. Now, yesterday we saw the uniform. Okay, uniform at least okay because you are seeing only this uniform. But what happens in rare cases, or most of the time, these women when they are using their restrooms, most of the time they were not given any water to clean themselves up. So what happens? These people they started tearing very small piece of cloth from their uniform and they used that to clean themselves. And therefore, soon their uniform becomes very small, very torn, and then they are supposed to use the same uniform. So you had difficulties like that. Now look at the shoes. Now just look into your shoes. What shoes are you wearing? What slippers are you wearing? You go for Crocs or you go for Skechers. You just surf the internet for the softest material, and then you get one. Even if it is going to cost thousands or 5,000 or even 10,000, you don't mind. You want the best comfort. But look at these people. What you're seeing in the picture is nothing but wooden shoes. Now, there are two drawbacks with these wooden shoes. One is they are hard, no doubt. The second one is they are also capable of harming your feet. You say wooden, how it is not very proper. Therefore, they harm your leg. There is a small scratch, and that scratch develops into a big wound, and that big wound will start, having pus, and then as a result, you will have high fever. That fever might end up as pneumonia, and then people may die. So you had a lot of deaths just because of this wooden shoes. Now look at this. Now you are looking into the bodies, or the first image, the bodies of the survivors of Holocaust, how they are surviving the Holocaust. Now look, they just have only the bone, literally the bone and the skin to cover their body and nothing else. This is because of the food that they had. Very minimum food and maximum amount of work is taken. So this is what they are inside the camp. This is how actually they were. Now the images, the one below that first image and the one in the side, are the bunks where these inmates are allowed to sleep. Now look at the second image, the side image. In one bunk, there are around 3 persons. Sometimes they also have 4 to 5 people in one bunk, meaning you can't even turn. If you are lying side by side, you will not have space to turn. And if you are turning, you will definitely disturb the next person, which the next person will never like it because after tremendous amount of work, they are resting. So this is how you are allowed to rest. And which meaning you don't have proper rest at all inside the concentration camp. Now imagine the sophisticated beds that you have, yeah, and the lights that you have. And these people, they are not allowed to use the washrooms during night. If they want to use, if they get out, then they will be beaten to death. So they will be there. But for some cases, some rare cases, when people are sick, they may defecate even in the bunk. And then those excretion will be falling on people who are lying down. That was see, whatever I talk, it might look like I talk all the unwanted things, but I want you to understand what was really the situation of these people during Holocaust, so that you can try and put yourself in that place, and then you can be so thankful. You should be actually be grateful for what you have now. Look at the spoons. And these are not just the spoons uh, for the prisoners. These are the spoons that somehow they got. Not all prisoners had the privilege of using a spoon. Only few people had the spoon. And if you have a spoon, there is always another person who's ready to steal your spoon. Therefore, you should be very careful. Though you work, you go anywhere, you have to be very careful with your spoon. And that's how so many people save their spoon. And the color image is the food that they get. The solid part is your bread, the brown bread, bread made from all the nutritionless things. So that is the bread, and the black color thing is the coffee, and the white thing is your soup. So this is your ration for one day. Probably at night you get your soup, in the morning your bread and your coffee. Now what happens? The cruelty of Holocaust is here. Now there is this small amount of bread. Now imagine if I have this bread in the morning and for the lunch probably I am hungry again. I don't have anything to eat. I look at my neighbor's hand. She somehow has some bread. Now she is eating. I'm okay. I have to be okay because I don't have bread. If it is happening for one day, I will not harm my next person, my neighbor. But if it is going to continue, I'm going to be hungry for the rest of the day, for every day if I'm going to be hungry. And somebody else has some amount of bread, then I want to take it. This is where they are trying to break your moral values. And you don't have your identity already. You are not identified as someone's daughter, or you are not identified as the Dr. So and so. You are not a good human. You are just a subhuman. You are just a Jew. You are just a prisoner. Therefore, now your moral conscience is completely broken. You become an animal, and then you fight for bread. Sometimes you even kill. There are literature written, there are memoirs written on such things. Such things have happened inside Holocaust. So people beat each other, kill each other for just another mug of soup or another loaf of bread. And there is this image where you have two cans filled with soup. It must be a soup. This cans which are used as say what is it? Container for your soup. In the night, it is used as chamber pots by the Nazis. Nazis will be using all those containers as chamber pots, and in the morning it is turned into a container of your soup. And there are memoirs which says the soup which has the urine as well. It has a very very peculiar smell, very pungent smell. Therefore, many of the survivors, many of the prisoners, just for the sake of living, just to satisfy their hunger, they used to close their nose. They used to close their nose and then take their food, drink their food as in one gulp. Because if you throw away your soup, then you will not have anything to drink at all for the whole day. And imagine at the same time how much food you are wasting. Like, as if, I do not know, because only when you know the depth of what has happened, what had happened with these people, you will understand how you are wasting food. You don't even want to get into Holocaust. You just go to the roadside, get into a church, get into a temple. What happens with those kids outside, with those poor people outside? When you look into those people, you will actually realize how grateful you must be for whatever you have in your life. So this is how they had their food. And now, what you're looking in the picture, the first image is you have this holes, right? That's called pit hole. This is their toilet. They don't have proper toilets. Now you're supposed to sit in this pit and then you are supposed to defecate. And again, what is so cruel about this toilet is, most of the time it was not cleaned. So the toilet will be brimming over, and you are supposed to sit there and you are supposed to use such toilets. And sometimes, rarely, Nazis will think of cleaning such toilets. And for that work, they only choose the best of the Jews, like the teachers, doctors, lawyers, priests, nuns, all the holy or believed to be in the very sacred position or very sacred job are chosen for cleaning such toilets. Now look at the queue in the next image. That's a queue for using the toilet. Now, say there is this concentration camp called Auschwitz, where you have around 33,000 women prisoners, 33,000 women prisoners, but you only have 30 toilets, just 30 number, and the population is 33,000, 30 to 33,000, and you will be given just 1 hour time to use this toilet. If you are not using the toilet in the selected in the given time, then you will be punished. Sometimes you won't be allowed to use the toilet at all. And in such rare cases, when people defecate or people urinate, when they are standing in the queue, they will be beaten to death, or sometimes they even shot them to death. So these were the punishments that they had inside Holocaust. Now look at this. The first image is, I think they are taking away the blood from him, or maybe he is into some operation, I'm not sure. But Jews are guinea pigs for them. For them to test every experiment, they used only Jews. And they took a lot of blood from Jews to use that for the Nazi soldiers who were fighting for the Germany in the then World War. World War II, they were fighting, and for those people, they had blood from here. And also, they tried operating. Even at that time itself, they were trying. If someone lost their head, hand, or leg, they cut a part from Jewish body, and they tried adding this Jewish body to Nazi soldiers, but it never worked out. But that way, many Jewish people lost their life. And then the second image that you see is, there is this person who is working with twins. Okay? You remember I was telling you that Germany was facing unemployment, and German women were into abortion. They don't want children at all. So it was such a state. And now government is encouraging their population to have children. Among them, one study, the scientific study that they tried having is trying to make their German women have twins. They wanted to know how twins are being conceived in the womb, so that they can have, in one pregnancy, instead of having one German, they can have two German. So they tried their best with the Jewish twins, and in that way, a lot of Jewish twins were killed. The second one, the last image, the image below the both images, the dwarfs from the Jewish community. Now, I told you in the beginning, the very first day, I told you that this is a racial cleanliness. They want to have the racial purity. Now they want to find out why these dwarfs are being born. If they find the reason, they thought that they could have very pure blood with the Germans. The Aryan race will not, they don't want the Aryan race to have such dwarfs. So they had experiments again with a lot of dwarfs. And then, now this is the image that you have in the right corner is the gas chamber. The below the right corner is the opening for the gas chamber, where the bodies are put in and where they can be burnt alive. So the first image is where, if you can zoom in, you will find in that lorry you have a lot of dead bodies. Just like that, they are thrown like a garbage. They are taken to the gas chambers. The second image I just added so that you will understand the intensity of the suffering of the Jews inside Holocaust. They just have their bones and their skin, nothing else. And these people are also taken into the gas chamber. They are half dead or they are probably completely dead. So this is where I am stopping my journey. I'm stopping my conclusion here. We will just move back again so that if you have any questions regarding all this, we will have a discussion now. I just rushed up telling you all the story because I thought of giving you space where you can ask your questions regarding this, what was happening here. I'm just giving you 5 minutes. If you don't have any questions, then we will move on how this is connected to dehumanization. Because I just told you the story now. I'm yet to connect this with your dehumanization. Any questions regarding such punishments and such cruelty? Is there any doubts? Okay, then I assume that you don't have any questions at this point of the presentation. I will continue then. Now, look at this. The shoes, yes, they consciously have made the Jewish people to use such shoes because they know that such shoes will bring them harm. That is one thing. The second thing, they have their own shoes. Now imagine I am a Jew and I was taken to to the concentration camps. Why should I use this shoe when I have my own shoe? But I wasn't allowed. Even if they are allowed, see, it is not always the wooden shoes. Sometimes they have the shoes or used, worn out shoes also they had. But they never allowed a person to have the same pair. If you have no size 6 of a shoe for your right leg, then size 7 for your left leg. Because they wanted to give you the discomfort of not wearing a proper shoe. Now, this is what dehumanization is. Will you do this to your neighbor? That's the question. You will not do this to another human. But you are doing it, you are capable of doing it to the Jews because you have the authority. When the power is given, and when this has become a routine. Probably when the first batch was given these shoes, probably the Nazis would have felt bad about how they feel bad wearing all this. But then when this becomes a routine, nobody questions. And then look at this. Now this bunk is also a deliberate idea of reducing the comfort level. So now imagine, now look at this. The two essence, as I was telling you, the socialization. In the previous yesterday we were discussing how they were not allowed to use their language. So you will not be allowed to use your language. And if you have your family members, you will be separated, like boys to one place, girls to another place, and child to one place, old people to some other place. But then if you have, say, two sisters who are in the age between 20 and 22, and if both are sisters, one will be in this camp, the other will be transferred to another camp. So you will not have your family, you will not have the ability to socialize with people. So that is there. And culture is also removed. Earlier we saw that. Now human nature. What is this human nature? How you link yourself to this natural world. How you are, the comfort, the very comfort and warmth, everything will be removed. Now that is what happening inside these camps. See, when the comfort level is removed, Now, what happens when you are in a hurry? Say you are in a hurry to your college and your mother says, take your food. You will be, irritated. You look at your mother and you say, you think only food is important, mommy? No, I have an exam, I have to go, you say. Because in the when you are, uh, just a bit out of comfort, you are not comfortable at all. You always want to be in the comfort level. When you go out of your comfort level, you become a different personality. Now, check yourself. Take 1 minute and think, are you taking the comfort too much? Are you taking the people granted? Think of all that because what these people suffered is so much. And what you have in your life is such a blessing. Now, look at this image. I'm trying to connect again with how this is called dehumanization. You are taking away what a human need is. A human should have a proper bed, proper food. If you are not giving it, if you are capable of not giving such thing to another person, it itself means that you treat them as a subhuman. Now imagine you have a maid at home. Okay? You have a maid at home. You are going to have biryani. And do you think you will give your maid some stale food or stale bread? Definitely no, because you want to treat another human. So you have biryani, so you even if you have only less amount, even in that less amount, you take a small share for your maid. You give that part to her. Probably she takes that to her home for her children. That's how we treat another human being. But in your mind, if I consciously tell you that the maid that you have in your home is not a person to be treated equally, if I keep telling you that, then you will not treat that person equally. That is what I am trying to tell you. So this is what now you take the example of the caste system that we have in India. How what happened to the Dalit people? The same thing happened because for a very long time our caste system or our ancestors they kept telling us that no people who belong to such and such caste or such and such tribe or such and such scheduled caste are not so good people. You can treat them as you like because you are gods for these people. You have such narratives being written. That is why we kept ill-treating those people for a very long time. And when we keep treating them in a wrong way, luckily they started, or fortunately, they started raising their voice against such evil. Therefore, today we know how to treat people. If not, probably the same thing would have happened here. So, consciously they are writing that these people are not human. This is not something for the Jewish people. They are not communicating this to the Jewish people, telling them that you are not human at all. They are also communicating the same thing to the Nazi soldiers. The Nazi soldiers, they always had this in mind. Not all the human with a human face or human is something like a mantra that have been told them for a very long time. So for them, after such orientation, they started feeling okay. Jewish people must be treated this way because they are not human at all. And then they started beating them and started doing whatever they want to do with those people. And the food. Now imagine there is somebody who's very hungry, very mean, very in a very pathetic position. We will always feel sorry for those people. We will always try to help those people. But what happened inside the Holocaust? They consciously made them to become malnourished. They were forced to work hard. Maximum amount of work is being extracted from those people, and the minimum amount of energy is restored with this food. This is a conscious process because what is the end result that the Hitler wanted is death of Jewish people, the complete eradication of Jewish community or Jewish race. Therefore, they don't want to make these people have a comfortable life. See, if you have a comfortable life, if you have good food and a good place to lie down, probably you live 10 more years. And if I'm going to make your life so difficult, it probably reduce their lifetime. That's all of this are a strategy that um, Nazis used. And this is basic human rights. See, when your body has, this is what we saw in the previous slide, how you are connected with nature, everything changes. What is nature? Human body will have its own system, and as the system works inside your bodies, you have certain needs. Your no natural calls you have, which you are supposed to meet then and there immediately. Nobody can force it. Nobody can no uh, it is like nobody can force you or nobody can stop you. If you are being stopped, if you are right for such common basic things is snatched away, then that is the best example of dehumanization. Because they are not even considering you a human. Now, go to your pet dogs and pet animals. What happened with your pet dogs? You take them for a walk. If you don't take them for a walk, I don't think they have the time to defecate. That is how you train them. So the same has happening here. They are trying to force these people. They are trying to snatch every little identity of being a human. Therefore, at this point of time, they actually think that they are not human. And when this is reinforced on people, on so many people, with so much power with the Nazis, the Nazis also started thinking that these people are not human anymore because of the power and the routine process of dehumanization. And see, when you think a
Hello.
person, yes,
Any
yes, ma'am.
students would ask some questions if it is because you have only 15 minutes now to discuss.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, if they have questions, they can put that on the
Yeah, yeah.
chat box.
Yes. Okay, okay.
Okay, I'll give you one novel in the chat box. This is the first memoir that I read, and I believe this will help you. It's a very short memoir, but no, when you move through the pages, I don't think you can finish that in one day. That is a very interesting. See, Mr. Nabil has asked a very logical question, but that is the irony with the Nazis. See, the other day I was talking to you about Canada, where you had all the precious and all the costly dresses and toys used by the kids and women of Jewish people, and those things were taken. And when even before the ghettos, when a Jewish person has a beautiful bungalow and a Nazi soldier wants to have it, he comes and he owns it. You don't even want to have a paperwork for owning a Jewish house or a Jewish shop. You can just like that go and snatch it away. This is where they are very illogic. This is why the Nazis' aim of eradicating the Jewish people from the very face of the earth becomes a failure. They took their blood, they took them for their for every medical experiments, and that's how it is. Even we also thought why should they use this, but the answer is because I don't think you as a human, you are just something for me to suck your blood. It is only a supporting system for them. Any more questions? They did, ma'am. They did revolt against the Nazis. Tomorrow we will be seeing resistance. See, resisting resistance today or in today's scenario is different. But what happened inside Holocaust will shock you actually. How they tried resisting, this Nazis. We will see tomorrow. They did, but it was not very successful. But they did. They did even inside the camp, not even after liberation, but even very much when they were inside the camp. Considering the Jewish, rich, educated, and had certain authority, what made them feel philosophy protested for a long time to hold on? They never protested. That is the big mistake, and only that because of that today you see, no, the Jewish people are very vehement and they take very drastic steps because of that. Because at that point during World War II, though they had power, though they are rich, they silently obeyed the government because that was their religious belief. If you have a king, you should obey. That's what they obeyed. They were blind in obeying them. That is because they believe that everything is for the good. And if you read the newspapers, if you read the Nazis' ideology, everything that they said was a lie. Nazis took them away. They took them to a ghetto because they told, see, you have lived in Germany for a very long time. Now you can live in the space that we are giving for you. And soon we will take you to a different place and we will give you this and that. Your children will have a best future. We are building your nation. All fake promises. And Jewish people believed all such fake promises. That is why you had Jewish people as leaders, as someone who helped the Nazi soldiers. Nazi soldiers will have under them 2 or 3 Jewish soldiers, Jewish leaders. And these leaders will be taking care of a group of Jewish people. So it worked like that because they believe so much. That's why today, they don't trust people and they behave in a very different way. So can we say that they were essentially exploiting the Jews in every possible way? Exactly. Why at the same time spreading hatred against them among the common German people, like I said, using their houses, but on the other hand blaming them? Yeah, that is because, see, I am using you, but I am not using you with the intention of using you. I want my space. I want to get rid of you, but in the process of getting rid of you, I am trying to make the best benefit. How much benefit I could take from eradicating you, I'm taking it. And these people, Jews, are blamed always because right from history they had this prejudice. Like they were someone who killed Jesus Christ. They used black magic. They used people's blood for their prayers. They are using black magic for their wealth and all that. So you have a history for this Jews. So it was so easy for them to blame them for everything. And they wanted to they wanted to move the Jewish out of their land because they believed all this prejudice idea, like Jewish people are not good people. They are money grabbing. They are very they have this parasite nature in them. So they don't want Jewish people. That is the first thing. And because of that, they became very vehemently. They started throwing them out. They thought of throwing them in an island called Madagascar. When that was economically impossible, they thought, okay, since these people are too bad, since these people are killer of Jesus Christ, why not we kill them back? And they had a process for that. That's how the whole event happened. Any other questions? Okay, then I'll come to the last point of why I told you that dehumanization can happen everywhere. Now, this is not something that happened only here, but if you go up to your home, how you treat another human being is more important. How you treat yourself is the only way of treating another human being. If you will not like slapping another human, if another human is slapping you and you don't like that, then you cannot do that for another person. See, You have an ice cream and then you give only a hot cup of coffee or hot cup of black tea to somebody. It's not fair because you think that person is bit lower than you. You're doing it. If you think another person acts yourself, you will not allow that. So whatever action you do, whatever thought process that comes out of your mind, you should always check them, putting yourself in that. Say, if, for example, if I want to call someone as stupid or call someone as not worthy of what he or she is having or not supposed to stay somewhere, something of that sort, will I be happy when someone says all that to me? If I cannot take such words, if I cannot experience such action, then I am not supposed to give the same actions to another person. That is where dehumanization happens, but in a minimal level. You will not call that as a dehumanization. You just call that ma'am just scolded this boy. But that is also dehumanization. So you should always have this checkpoint in your mind whenever you use your negative words or you try to ill-treat another human being. Any other questions?
I feel they all are satisfied with this lecture. So thank you, ma'am, for such an engaging and enlightening lecture about the concentration camp. And obviously through the virtual tour, you made us to feel and connect with the pain and trauma of Jews, the sufferer of Holocaust. So I observed that the students, the participants have lots of questions and you have given a very satisfactory answer to all. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this. And I'm sure that our participant got some important idea about the concept of genocide and particularly the process of dehumanization. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this particular lecture. Thank you.